Hello and welcome to Better Living, a show about the people and organizations that make an impact in our area. I'm your host, Nick Carissimi. Today's show is all about an organization called Warriors Heart that focuses on PTSD and addiction treatment for veterans and first responders. Josh and Lisa Lannon of Warriors Heart are on the line. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Nick.
Well, thank you very much. Josh, you are the founder and CEO of Warriors Heart in general, let's say. Lisa, you are working with a portion of this organization called Operation Warriors Heart Foundation. You are the director of that. So before we get into the differences between these organizations, we got to figure out who Warriors Heart is. So who is this organization and what do you guys do?
Thanks. Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll go a little bit back. Is that how we got in this field is in 2001. I was drinking and partying and being a knucklehead. And my wife was a police officer in Las Vegas. So kind of the funny thing is like I worked in the nightclub industry, and I would get people drunk for a living, and she would book them in jail. So things kind of were out of control for me, and she was always concerned that one day am I going to have to, process my husband in jail for a DUI or something stupid. So she gave me the ultimatum. She said, either you go to rehab tonight or I'm going to divorce you. And really, that was a lifeline I was looking for. I wanted it to end. So I went through a program myself, came out, and I thought, I no longer want to get people drunk for a living. I just couldn't do it anymore on a spiritual level. I couldn't be a part of a problem. So that's when Lisa and I got into this space, and we built our first company in 2002, and it took off. It took off because we built it from the patient's point of view. How does someone want to be treated? What do the family members want to know? What are they going through? And because of that, it kind of spun off and became very successful.
Yeah, so we had, over the course of a number of years, we had 6 facilities in 2 different states. And in late 2013, we sold those facilities to a large private equity-backed healthcare facility. And we did, at that time, made our sole focus on Warriors Heart. We teamed up with our other co-founder, Tom Spooner, who is a retired Army veteran, Special Forces operator, and built Warriors Heart.
Yeah, because Warriors Heart is a 40-bed inpatient treatment center for guys and gals that are struggling with addiction and PTSD. And in our other facilities, we saw more and more vets coming back from the war that had a difficult time connecting with civilians, and also with because I have a lot of friends that are special forces and stuff, so we're talking to them going, man, you guys are really struggling. And then we found out there's 22 a day that commit suicide. It's like, holy crap, this is bad. So we wanted to build it from, again, the end user's point of view. And Lisa, being a police officer, we had quite a few cops come through our programs. So it's like, why not build a facility that honors police, honors the firefighters, honors our warriors, our military for who they are and what they do, and build a peer culture that really understands at a root level of who they are and what they're going through.
Yeah, because what we found out in the other facilities is when our veterans would come in, or our law enforcement or firefighters, it'd be very difficult for them to sit in a group and open up with a civilian or someone who does not understand the front lines of trauma, of life and death, of war. So it'd be very difficult, like I said, for them to open up and share their feelings and release that trauma. So with Warriors Heart being very center-focused on our warriors, they come in, they're able to connect right away, open up right away, and feel like they're a part of a similar like-minded group.
Okay, y'all gave me about 10 years worth of story in about 3.5 minutes. So I do have a lot of questions. So before we get back to Warriors Heart, let's talk a little bit about you guys for a minute. Josh, you were working in the nightclub industry in Las Vegas, and Lisa, you were a police officer in Las Vegas.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys were at different ends of the spectrum completely. You guys found each other, and things were not going well, Josh, because you were drinking and partying too much.
Correct. I mean, it was fun in my 20s, but, man, it almost killed me a few times, I will say. And Lisa and we've been together now 21 years. So she saw me, and, we met, and I had my stuff somewhat together, but she saw me in the worst of times. And that's what's so amazing with this woman is that she stuck with me and said, I'm going to help you through this process because I know who you really are.
One of the things that you said that stood out to me was that you were sick of it deep down, and that you kind of wanted somebody to reach out that hand of help to get you out of the place that you were in. Is that something common that you have found in the work that you do?
Absolutely. I mean, I tried every way from, okay, I'm just going to drink on the weekends to I'm not going to drink hard alcohol anymore to I promise, everything. Tried it all. And it's very common with our clients that come in here, the warriors, it's like, pretty smart people. So we're crafty in order to continue our addiction for as long as we do. But at a certain point, it just stops working. And that's when we really see the guys reach out for help and go, I've tried everything. I don't know what to do. Please help.
Okay, so when you decided that it was time for you to make a change, you did what a lot of people should be doing, and you made a complete life change. You even got out of the industry that you were in to help yourself.
We had to, yeah, because I knew it was just a matter of time. If I stayed in it, there'd be a rough night or a terrible fight or something would happen that would trigger me as like, let me just have a drink to calm my nerves. And it just wasn't worth it.
And not only that, what we know with those in recovery, if they go back to the same environment and don't change it, it is only a matter of time. So a lot of things have to change going home, whether that's just in the household, things that they can control. And we knew we could control where Josh worked, and that was a big shift.
Lisa, you're a professional working with people that are getting themselves into trouble, doing the same things that Josh was doing. But you're on the other side of that, too. You're going to be a person that's involved with this on a personal level. What was it for you that made you want to say that it's time to draw a line in the sand, and if we're going to move our lives forward, something needs to be done?
That's a great question. Over the course of his addiction and his drinking, I had lost a part of myself as well. So, I was a strong person, individualized when I was at work, but when I came home, my feelings, how I felt, kind of became dependent on how he was when he walked in the door. Were we going to have a good day? Was it a bad day? Was he drunk? Was he not? And I gave away a big piece of my control and myself over to that addiction. I was codependent when I came home. And over the course of a number of years, I got tired of it as well. I was done being sad. I was done being emotionally dependent on the addiction. And this was not long. It was 2 months after 9/11 when I decided I'd had enough. I needed to reclaim my own power of who I was as a person and give him this ultimatum of our marriage or divorce because I could no longer go through it either.
Yeah, and that was the boundary. I'd say it really comes down to holding healthy boundaries. I had pushed every boundary with Lisa, but that night I knew she was done. Is that if I didn't straighten up, she was leaving me. And I didn't want that. I really didn't. So I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's go to treatment.
And it was hard on a nightly basis to be at work. I worked the booking floor, so a lot of the correction side of the police department in Las Vegas, working the booking floor. So I saw addiction day in and day out. So dealing with it at work and then going home and dealing with it at home, it was nonstop for me.
Lisa, what would you say to somebody that's dealing with the situation from your perspective? That's the spouse or girlfriend or husband, somebody that's dealing with somebody that has an issue. What do they need to do to help them move forward in making sure that the person they care about changes their life?
First is the boundaries. It's setting those healthy boundaries and knowing they can stick to them. We can all set boundaries, but when that boundary gets pushed, are we able to hold it or give in again? It's just like little kids. Kids will ask and ask and ask, and we either say no or we give in, so they learn where they can push it and where they can't. So knowing what boundaries the loved one is able to stand by is one of the first steps. And then getting educated on addiction. Knowing what the person is going through. It's not as easy as some people will say, well, just stop. It's not that simple. There's usually some kind of trauma or some kind of emotional baggage in there that person needs to clear that they're using as a cover-up to mask that pain. So getting that education and then having a place or a therapist ready for when that person's ready for help.
You guys seem to have almost a perfect storm going on here for dealing with a situation like this. Lisa, you were at your wit's end and kind of put down an ultimatum, But Josh, you are also ready to make a change yourself. And from anybody that I've talked to that has had a problem with addiction, it's not really the other person that makes the decision for you to get clean. It's always about the person with the problem finally saying to themselves, now is the time. I'm going to make a change in my life. I need to sober up, get clean, however you want to put it. But you guys were kind of bouncing off of each other. So do you think that's why you had such success with this?
You know, it's a good question because the timing of it worked. I mean, we had been going through this dance for years, and we've even separated for a while. We came back together. This, I guess, all the stars aligned. You know, there was a higher purpose for us. I don't know what, a spiritual calling, but it was just time. Either I was going to die or I was going to get treatment. It was that far. I pushed that far.
Relapse is a big issue in situations like this. A lot of people, they will go get treatment, but it doesn't really stick. Did your treatment stick with you the first time?
It did. Although, I went to treatment as an adolescent. At 14 years old, I found myself in a chemical dependency treatment. So that's when I started on the path. But no, I partied hard and continued on until my mid-20s. Once I finally went to a program, and they didn't just say, if you quit drinking and using, your life will be better. They actually looked at, well, what's the root cause? Why are you drinking? What's going on? And it wasn't until I cleared it from a holistic point of view, like from mind, body, and spirit, then I began to truly heal. And I'm proud to report I've been sober now 15 years, and what works for me is that I'm in this industry, I'm giving back, and I'm helping other warriors get this the treatment and the healing that they deserve too.
Well, let's start talking about how you made that transition from a person that got a hold of themselves and decided that it was time to help other people. So, Josh, you are clean. You and Lisa are ready to start your lives. I mean, at least for you, Josh, you didn't have the same kind of career. So maybe you were even looking for a new career now that you were sober. So how did you go from dealing with this issue to saying to yourselves, we're going to start helping other people?
Sometimes I wonder about that too. And it sounds silly, but I Forrest Gumped it. A friend of mine owned a treatment center. He said, hey, this field. So I was like, okay. So we went and we started the process. And then, I said, well, in order to really learn this, let me teach you the policy procedure side of it. And then let me teach you this side of it. And just a step by step, almost like following the promptings is like when I let go of my control, it's like, all right, what am I supposed to be doing? Because getting people drunk for a living it's not fulfilling me. I did okay financially, but it didn't fulfill me spiritually. So once I let go of that and said, okay, in my recovery, in my sobriety, what am I supposed to be doing on this planet? And I started following promptings. I started following, clues, and it led us to this field, and it led us to building successful organizations that really do make a difference in people's lives.
Lisa, when did you stop being a police officer and start working with Josh in the field of helping other people?
Well, immediately. So once we decided we're going to open up the facility, I continued being an officer, and on my off time, I would work 100% on building the business. Once the first facility opened, I stayed with law enforcement for about a year. Once because that covered all of our expenses, where Josh was able to quit the job and focus 100% full time on it. Once we knew it was going to work, then I quit the department and joined 100% full time then.
Earlier in the show, you mentioned that you had not one, but a few different facilities in 2 different states. So how many did you guys have?
We had 6.
You had 6 in 2 different states. So just by that alone, I'm going to guess that you guys were really good at what you did.
Again, because we didn't look at it from the academic book point of view, we looked at it from the ground roots, from those that were hurting. What do they need to know? What do they want to know? What do the families want to know? So we really built it from that end user because we were one. And we understood how dark and how painful it could be. And I think that's why it was successful. And the other is we surrounded ourselves with really good people. We found the best counselors, the best therapists that could relate And we built a team of people that had a very strong why to be in the field.
Lisa, both of you would have different strengths as far as helping people are concerned here. How did you guys kind of split those talents up into different areas?
Some of it was trial by fire. I would work on one thing like the insurance, billing insurance, find a mentor, find someone in the industry that understood it. Josh did a lot of strategic planning and operations. And through the course of time, we just found our natural niches on what we were good at. And we still communicate a lot, integrate a lot. But yeah, there's certain things he does better and certain things I do better that we focus on. I work on a lot of the PR now, still a lot of the insurance, the foundation side as well.
And I do want to talk about the foundation side of it, which is Operation Warriors Heart Foundation. But as far as the timeline goes, we're still not there yet. You guys have had a very rich history with helping people. So how long were you operating these facilities?
From 2002 to December of 2013.
Wow. So over 10 years of these facilities. What was the facility called?
It's called Journey Healing Centers.
So you guys had Journey Healing Centers for 13 years. What about this program made it stand out from the others? You said that you had a very individual focus on the people that were there. Is that what the key was?
It was. It was that, and then also our environment and our culture. Is that addicts, when they go through their stuff, they're pretty shameful themselves. There's no reason why anyone should look down upon them, and we didn't. It's like these are good people. They're just struggling. And we welcomed them into our facilities, and people were like, I don't know what it is, but just this place is different. It feels different.
Yeah, we had them in large residential homes, so they came into a home-like environment. We treated them like family, and they really got to heal with dignity and respect from a holistic mind, body, spirit point of view.
Yeah, and the process wasn't easy. I mean, we get down and dirty with it, but when they come through the process, it's worth it.
This is more than just a facility that helps people beat addiction from the things that I'm hearing. This sounds like a major operation. Had you guys had any experience working on such a grand level?
Well, in the nightclubs, it was pretty crazy. But, again, this trial by fire, we got mentors. We've been doing this, over a decade now, so we've been able to refine the formula. With Warriors Heart, the facility we have now, it's on a 543-acre ranch right outside of San Antonio, Texas. And it's incredible because our warriors come here, especially our military guys, are like, this is not the VA. It's like, roger that, it is not. And they appreciate that because they're in an environment, one, that they're familiar with, the way our culture is, but they also see how much we love them and we care for them because of what we offer them.
All right, so let's finally start talking about Warriors Heart. You guys had all of your facilities, and you've been doing this for 13 years, and you finally decided to go ahead and sell those off, and you wanted to start Warriors Heart. Now, what was the reasoning for starting this type of operation specifically?
22 veterans a day committing suicide, and that's it. I mean, once I found out about that, and I couldn't turn my back on it. It's like we're losing more of our warriors on our own home soil, the war at home, than we are overseas. What is wrong? And there's a huge disconnect from the warrior and the civilian. So, and that's when we teamed up with our partner, Tom Spooner, which is a retired Army. He was in Delta for a number of years, top Tier 1 operator. It's like, yeah, man, there's a major disconnect. So it's like, how do we integrate back together again the civilians, the warriors, and honor them for who they are and what they've done?
Yeah, and Tom will mention, in other interviews that he was almost one of those 22.
Yeah.
And I have a grandfather who was a World War II veteran. My father was a Vietnam veteran, and I watched them go through their own struggles with PTSD. So, again, we understood it from a family point of view at this point, and also a friend point of view from the number of veterans that we know and police officers. But yeah, that statistic, once we knew it, it's like we've got to do something. We have to be a part of that solution.
Was there a person or someone that kind of told you about that or hinted it to you that made you really realize how large the problem was?
Yeah, I'm real big into tactical training, military training. So I joined a course by Northern Red. They're an incredible military tactical company, private company, and they put us through a 4-day course. It was a selection course, and once we did number of different things. At the end of the course, they did a briefing on the cause and effects of war. Besides the fun and gun stuff, this is what happens. And one of the guys, J.D. Padinsky, said, look, man, I signed up for war, but what I didn't sign up for was when I came home getting the phone call that my buddy killed himself. I didn't sign up for all those calls at late night that my buddies are struggling. That's not how it's supposed to go down. And it just hit me. I was like, he's right. So we had the knowledge and the experience in the behavioral health field. Why not merge the two together and build a facility for our warriors?
I think that makes a lot of sense. A lot of times you hear numbers, and numbers only have a certain amount of meaning. But when you're really talking to people and seeing the kind of situations that they're in, it usually makes a person act, and that's exactly what happened to you guys, it sounds. So you decided to start Warrior's Heart. The big question I have to start off with is the approach different to helping a veteran with substance abuse as opposed to a civilian?
I do. I think so. One is because a veteran can be pushed a little bit further. They understand the peer network. They understand a team. And what's one of the things that we do here differently is we create a team. They have a battle buddy. They have someone that's with them through the process that they're also accountable for. It's like, all right, team leader, where's your battle buddy? And if they're missing, they're held accountable. So I think differences like that do make a difference when we're a civilian. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm just here for me. It's like, no, you're here for your brother and your sister to the left and to the right of you. And in order for you to be there for them, you have to be strong yourself. So there is some different thinking.
Yeah, and all of our team members are connected to either military, law enforcement, firefighters, either themselves or through a loved one. So everyone here understands our culture.
So let's talk about the program itself. When a person comes into Warrior's Heart, how does it go from the beginning, and what are some of the programs that you offer to help these people get themselves into a better space?
Got it. Yeah, so we offer, it's a minimum 28-day course where they come in the program, they live here on site, fully indoctrinated in the program. Now, it's not a boot camp, that it isn't, but it is intense. There's times that they will feel uncomfortable, but it's all part of the process for peeling back the onion and getting to the root cause. Then we also have long-term sober living. So after they complete the course, I think most of the guys are kind of averaging 6 weeks, that they can transition to a long-term sober living here on the property as well. One of the things that's unique with us is we have a couple programs here. One is with our canine program. It's called Operation Overwatch. And we have dogs that we rescue, and we train them up to be service dogs. So while guys or gals going through the course, if they connect, one, they're working with the dogs, but if they connect with the dogs, they can then be paired up with the dog, and the trainer and the clinical team can work together for the exact things that those warriors are struggling with, so then they can leave with a battle buddy being that service dog. And that's one of the things that's huge, been very, very successful with our program here.
Is that a newer program?
No, we launched it when we opened. We opened this year, and we launched it at time of opening, and it's done very well.
So 2016 was your first year?
Yes, sir. We opened, we got licensed April 4th, 2016.
I've never thought about this, but getting a place like this started, you have this big facility. How large is your facility in Bandera?
It's a 40-bed treatment center. We're on 543 acres.
Oh, so it's a small place.
Yeah, nothing big.
Nothing too big. Okay, good. All right, it's manageable. All right, so when you have a facility that's that large, are you talking to people and getting them ready to kind of move in when you're open? How does that work? How do you start a treatment facility day one?
Yeah, well, because of our background, we started our marketing, I'd say, a year in advance because we knew we were going to do this. So we opened our call center a year in advance, And even though we didn't have a program to place them, we worked with them, said, all right, what are you struggling with? We provided a free service. We talked to people, and we found other resources that we referred them to. So then by the time it was time to open, we had already built trust in the marketplace. We'd been in service to our warriors, and it was kind of a natural just flow where guys started admitting in the program once we had beds available.
So the program lasts for about 28 days, but you also said that you have about a 6-week sober living facility or program that you also kind of add on to that. So do you have separate housing for the people that are post 28-day program?
We do. So the 28-day inpatient program is minimum. The guys are averaging about 6 weeks of the inpatient program. Some of them have gone up to 8 weeks or 90 days. But once they complete the inpatient program, they can transition to our sober living housing, and it's a separate housing. And that's a 2-month minimum. We've had guys up to 5 months now already.
This facility, Warrior's Heart, it's offered to police, fire, basically first responders or military members. And you're going to deal with not only substance abuse, but you're also dealing with PTSD. Now, explain to me how you treat those things separately, because to me they would be very different and they would require very different things.
Yep, so we have both chemical dependency counselors and therapists that works not only with them in group but individual sessions. So everyone gets 4 sessions a week, individual sessions a week, 2 with the chemical dependency counselor to work on the addiction piece, and 2 with the therapist to work on the trauma, grief, moral injury, whatever the underlying causes may be. And groups are also focused on the chemical dependency or addiction piece and the trauma. So they both go hand in hand. What we do is we work on, once they're free of the substances, then we can really start to focus on the underlying causes, which will also work on once they're graduates of the program or alumni, they're no longer using the substances as well as a Band-Aid.
From a certain perspective, I guess you could say that everyone that is at Warrior's Heart is experiencing both of these things just at varying degrees.
Yes, yeah. In order to admit in the program, the substance abuse or self-medicating behavior would be the primary diagnosis, but we know that the underlying PTSD, trauma, moral grief, whatever it is the driving factor. So we do kind of separate them with the chemical dependency treatment and then the dual diagnosis treatment, but that team works hand in hand together to develop a treatment plan for the warrior.
Are you guys dealing with both alcohol and drug addictions?
Absolutely, yeah. Number one admission would be, and we even saw this in our other programs, alcoholism is number one. Because it's socially acceptable and it's kind of expected that you drink, but it's not okay to have a problem. So it's like, well, where's that line? How do I know? So alcohol is number one, and boy, the detoxes are pretty bad on that. Number two is prescription drug abuse. You have so many people like, look, I just followed the doctor's orders, and next thing you know, I'm strung out on this stuff. I got an injury, or whatever it is, I couldn't sleep at night, or so alcoholism, prescription drug abuse are 2 top admissions, and then it's the illegal stuff, which is, you wouldn't think in a treatment center, but it is that way, very common.
I feel like pills themselves are just a gigantic problem that people don't really see coming, because it's so much easier to kind of hide those to a certain extent. And for the kind of people that you're dealing with, it seems like that would be something that they would come into contact with quite frequently and quite easily. We're talking major injuries. We're talking things like, not being able to sleep. And I could see it being a very slippery slope into becoming a problem, but very quickly.
Absolutely. And it's culturally acceptable. In the military and police departments, fire departments, you drink like a fish, and it's okay to take pain pills when you're injured. So it's kind of set up that way. So it shouldn't be a surprise that people get strung out on it.
Let's talk a little bit more about Warrior's Heart itself as a program. You said that you have a canine unit, let's say, that you guys work with. But what are some of the other things that the guys are going to be doing and going through to help get them on the right track?
Yeah, so another one of the programs is what we call Elder Heart, and it's an on-site blacksmith.
You kind of cut out there. You said an on-site blacksmith program?
Blacksmith, that's correct. So a metal shop. Creative art therapy is common in our field, but what you typically see, honestly, is knitting, finger painting, and maybe some mask making. Our culture, no, they're not going to do that. So how we do it is through steel and through blacksmithing. And these guys get into it, and then they create their own expressive art projects, and they present them at their graduation here. And they've really come up with some very, very just incredible pieces that have a lot of depth and meaning that the counselors can then dive into and process through.
So you found that America's elite warriors weren't responding well to knitting. Is that what you're saying? Is that really what we found?
Yes. After years of research.
Years of research, it's a shocking result, I'm sure, for everybody over at Warriors Heart, but here we are. That's what you guys do. Whose idea was it to get into metalwork? Because I think that's a fantastic idea.
It was another veteran, and Magnus Johnson, incredible veteran, Green Beret. He wanted to help other warriors heal through art, and he found it through the metal shops.
You guys have a Green Beret named Magnus that's also a blacksmith.
We have quite a lineup here. We do.
I'm sure you guys do. And that kind of does bring me to a question. You've got people from the military, but you also have guys in the, you have firefighters, you also have police officers. Is there kind of a difference or a different dynamic that those guys go through, or even maybe different programs that they're a part of?
I don't think so. I mean, it's from the warrior class, selfless service. All of these guys, no matter what branch or police or firefighter, they're the first to say, I got this. I'll run in the door. I'll jump on the grenade. It's kind of in the DNA of a warrior. And because of that common bond, there's a language, a common language that these guys have. And they're very interested in the other fields. Like, well, what do you do with this fire? And how are you doing that? And tell me about this. And we see it in the chow hall when they're coming together, even though they have different backgrounds, they're coming together, uniting under that warrior class.
Is there sort of a healthy rivalry, let's say, between the guys, if they're maybe from different branches of the service?
Well, I don't know if we could qualify the Air Force as even part of the military.
See,
so that's one of them that comes up here.
I don't know why the Air Force guys always get this. I was working with another veterans organizations, and these dudes went straight for the airmen.
Every time.
There is a healthy rivalry that goes on all the time between the different branches, between our law enforcement and firefighters, and once they get going, it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, especially when we bring in donuts. Oh my gosh!
Oh, free for all.
Yeah.
I am speaking with Josh Lannon and Lisa Lannon of Warriors Heart. They also have Operation Warriors Heart Foundation. Now, Lisa, you're the director of Operation Warriors Heart Foundation, so explain to me what that is and what your goal is.
Great question. So the foundation was really formed to assist in supplementing the cost of treatment for our veterans. A lot of them have just VA benefits or TRICARE, so their services are really limited to the VA or to certain providers connected with the VA. So for them to come to private treatment, it had to come through some form of self-funding, scholarships, fundraisers. So we wanted to create a foundation where we could raise funds to assist them in getting the private treatment and also assist others in the community with the funds that are raised.
So you're kind of working towards getting people in a position to help themselves or even be a part of Warriors Heart.
Yes.
Okay, and how long have you guys been working on this side of Warriors Heart?
It wasn't kind of expected when we first opened, but we had so many calls with warriors that are struggling, even our police officers and fire, that they're like, hey man, I'm broke, I'm tapped, I have nothing. But what they did have was a willingness to come in and heal. So it's like we can't turn our back on these guys.
Well, and some of our law enforcement and firefighters' insurances are terrible.
That's true.
I mean, for mental health benefits, personally I would think they would be great coverage knowing what they go through on a daily basis. But their copays and deductibles can be so high, there's no way they can seek treatment. So the foundation really works as a supplement to help them come in.
I think that civilians and people that aren't affected, maybe by family or friend relations for things like this, were surprised at how bad these situations are for veterans and servicemen of any stripe or color. I feel that a lot of people now understand this, but is it getting any better?
No, unfortunately it's not. The reason why I say that is we're hearing our officers questioning if they should be officers anymore because it is difficult out there and they're questioned on everything. And I think the majority of them have a very clean intent. They just want to do their job, but the cards are stacked against them. You know, I remember growing up, being a cop was like incredible. It's awesome. It's honorable. People respected them. It's not so much right now. So they do have a difficult time. You know, in the military, the guys are questioning, you know, why are we over there? What's going on? So there's a lot of things that are emotional struggles for our warriors.
And those are the things that you do help address at Warrior's Heart.
100%.
Yes.
Okay, guys, I think that this operation is doing a lot, but you definitely, I can hear it, especially with the background that you have, that you want to do more. Is there any looking towards expanding in the future for Warrior's Heart?
Yeah, we're going through the TRICARE credentialing process now. Unfortunately, it's long and lengthy process. I guess anything to do with the government, they make things complicated. Once we get that sorted out, I mean, we've been working on it for 6 months now.
Now, what is that? Explain what that is for everybody.
Sure, yeah. TRICARE is the insurance for military if they're retired or if they're medically disabled or retired. So they have the VA is one, or TriWest is one level of insurance. Another level of insurance is TRICARE. So it's military insurance.
Okay, so you're trying to get that worked out so you can help kind of expand?
Well, yeah, so we can serve more of our warriors, and with that, I don't think 40 beds is going to be enough. So we do have plans to expand in multiple locations. It's part of our background. We understand how to do it, how to build the systems. But what we'll really see is that the demand is so high out there. There's not enough quality programs out there to fulfill. Are
you guys always full, or do you have open beds at certain times?
We do have open beds. The funding, the insurance is one of the biggest hurdles right now. We have plenty of guys that are willing and want to come in, and they're hurting, but they don't have the finances or the insurance. So that's where we're out raising funds for them too.
That's where Operation Warrior's Heart Foundation comes in.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Okay, guys. Well, it's a fantastic operation. It's a wonderful group. Is there anything that you guys want to mention to anybody that maybe is listening that might need help?
Yeah, just a couple things. One is New Year's is a big deal. New Year's resolutions. If your loved one said, hey, when this time's different. I'm going to sober up, I promise, and they can't hold to it, it's time to act. Because myself, as the user, I wanted it to stop. I had every intention to stop. I just didn't know how. So really for the family members to step forward and to take action, because sometimes that's what it takes. And we see that very common in our industry is if you're a loved one out there and your loved one promised that things would be different and it's not, take action, step up, take lead, and get them the help that they deserve.
What's the best way for people to get in contact with you guys?
We have a free 24-hour hotline, and that number is 844-448-2567.
Or you can reach us on our website. That's warriorsheart.com.
Yeah, they can email as well. And we found many like to email at first. They're not ready to talk on the phone, so that's a great avenue as well.
Josh Lannon is the founder and CEO of Warrior's Heart. Lisa Lannon is the director of Operation Warrior's Heart Foundation. Once again, their website, warriorsheart.com, or give them a call on their hotline, 844-448-2567. Guys, I really want to thank you for your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick.
Appreciate it.
Coming up after the break, I'll be speaking with a graduate of the Warrior's Heart program. You're listening to Better Living.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
50 push-ups!
Hey, Coach.
Get on that computer! SSS.gov! Not fast enough! 50 jumping jacks!
It's for your own good, because not registering with Selective Service could cost you a shot at college loans and grants, federal jobs, job training, and in most states, it could even cost you a driver's license.
I'm talking to you! Run that hill! 50 hills!
Go to SSS.gov to register with Selective Service. 2 minutes and you're done. It's just something you have to do.
Pick up the pace! 50 ballet jumps over the alligator pit!
Register with Selective Service at SSS.gov within 30 days of turning 18. If you don't, the consequences could be ugly.
Don't you smirk at me! 50 belly flops into moving traffic!
I'm a firefighter.
A teacher.
I'm a farmer.
I'm a barber.
A waitress.
A mom.
We're all part of your community.
Every day we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good.
Others not so much.
But that's life. It's when you experience a moment of uncertainty.
Something or someone's behavior that doesn't seem quite right.
These are the moments to take a pause.
Because if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not.
It's not about paranoia
or being afraid.
It's about standing up and protecting our communities.
One detail at a time.
Because a lot of little details can become a pattern.
We
trust our instincts.
Just like you should.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Better Living. I'm your host, Nick Carissimi. In the previous segment, I talked to Josh Lannon and Lisa Lannon of Warriors Heart. Now we are going to transition into a graduate of their program. His name is Will. Will, how are you doing today?
Doing well.
All right. Thank you very much, man, for joining me. Warriors Heart, it's all about helping people that serve in some capacity. So what is your service?
I served in the United States Navy.
You were in the Navy. Okay. And how long were you in the Navy for?
5 years.
Okay. What did you do in the Navy?
I was 8404 corpsman, so field corpsman, served with the United States Marine Corps.
So you're like a medic?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm a civilian. I did not serve. So there might be questions that I have that might seem pretty obvious to you, but I'm still going to have to ask them, okay?
Yes.
When did you end your service? How long have you been out?
August of 2006.
Okay, so it's been a while.
Yes, 11 years.
Okay. All right. How old were you when you joined?
I was 24.
All right. So you get out in August of 06. Talk to me about what you were experiencing. What was going on for you?
Honestly, it's like my whole life just unplugged and stopped. I tried to, I guess, just take the lowest responsibility, lay low, fly under the radar. Didn't really notice the problems I had until they became blaring problems.
So it sounds like did you just miss the Navy a lot?
I just didn't, nothing translated. Like everything you do in the service matters, and it has to be a certain way, and then you come home and it, like nothing matters.
So
the way it felt.
So the classic just kind of lost in a different world type thing.
Yeah, everything I knew and trusted and believed, and everything was it was like just always being on shaky ground, and the world was just a very different place.
So you find yourself in a very weird situation. Did you leave because of a medical discharge or something like that, or was it just your time to leave service?
No, it was just my time to leave the service.
Okay, so you leave the service, but did you have a plan for when you left?
Yeah, I was going to go home and be normal.
So you're just going to go home and be normal, and you didn't really think of it past that?
No, I mean, I really didn't. I wanted to stay in the medical field, but I should have known by my avoidance at the time, because I had job opportunities, but I would always bail on them. It's like I didn't want that weight of responsibility anymore, and it was too much, and my body had terrible physiological reactions to blood and things like that. So I was out.
So the stuff that you were trained in, the things that you wanted to do with your life, all of a sudden they're kind of being ripped away from you to a certain extent.
Correct.
So you're in this weird place, and then what started happening? Did you start drinking or what?
Yeah, I started drinking pretty much immediately.
Did you drink while you were in the service?
No, sir. I had actually not been a drinker until after.
Really? So in your estimation, what prompted that?
I mean, it could be a correlation in things. I mean, everybody's got a breaking point, I would say, and self-medication is prevalent everywhere. So that just hit my marker.
So when did you hear about Warrior's Heart?
Well, I so desperately wanted help, and I couldn't find anywhere because of insurance. A lot of places would offer like a detox service, but that wasn't really going to fix any of the problems. So in just searching and searching and searching, Warrior's Heart came up, and it wasn't a hospital. I don't think a hospital was going to really do anything for me. The VA's waiting list was atrocious, and it's lockdown hospital type environment, and there was Warrior's Heart coming from Alabama, 1,000 miles away, and they worked with me and got me in.
So when you arrived, was it what you expected, or did you have any expectations?
I was in pretty poor shape. I just wanted to help, and then coming to the realizations of the things that I was going to have to do to help myself was a little scary. It was very overwhelming. I really didn't know what to expect.
Do you think that there's a lot of guys that are in the situation that you were in that don't really understand that they need the help?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, they're doing exactly what I was sure I was doing. It's a new normal is really what it is.
When did it feel like the program started to click for you, and when did you start to feel or notice differences or changes?
Honestly, I struggled quite a bit. I was pretty resistant to a lot of things, and I guess probably at the 10 to 15 day mark, I kept saying how bad I wanted help, and I truly did. But I told myself if I wanted that help, then you would just do what they ask you to do and play ball, and that's when things started to change.
So the moment that you accepted Warrior Heart's program is the exact moment when you started to feel better to a certain extent?
Well, I don't know about better, but things got easier. I think I finally started to feel better, so to speak. It was past the 28-day mark for me. I was a 43-day stay.
You were there for 43 days. Did it feel like 43 days?
No, it was so fast. The program is very fast paced. It's moving. You're always doing something, and you're always engaged.
Well, let's do that. Let's talk about the day-to-day for this program. I talked to Josh and Lisa Lannon about kind of the broad aspects of what's going on in a few of the programs, but you're a guy that's lived it and been through it. Talk to me about the day-to-day. What was it like? What were you doing?
Well, you'd wake up, you'd have your breakfast. Of course, you're with your peers. In the 8:30 to 9:30 slot, you're going to do either some nature walk, yoga, or go hang out at the K9. And then from, say, 10 to 12, you're going to have your one-on-ones with your counselors, or free time to do like K9 or the metal shop, Elder Heart. Then you're going to go to lunch. Then after lunch, you're going to go do your group session. That's with everybody that's in the program at the various stages. So you get to see people come in and grow and, kind of mentor or be mentored. Then after group, typically go to dinner. Then you get your phone for an hour. And then you have another group meeting or support group, or, some jiu-jitsu sometimes, movie night. Things like that in the evening, and then the rest of the night is yours, which is pretty much lights out time.
It does feel, the way that you explain it, that there is a sense of freedom to a certain extent, that you are kind of in control of yourself. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I always make the paradox that the irony is you're caged in, by a fence, but you're free to leave whenever you want. Just a strange contrast, but it's as free as anything that you're going to find.
Did that really resonate with you? Is that something that really kind of, you think, helped propel you to want to stick around?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to have a certain amount of freedom anyway. I mean, at some point, you're going to go back into the world, and you're going to have to control yourself, and you're going to have to put up with this and that and the other, and, having, the freedom of choice for things here is, well, much like you're going to face in life. It's life on life's terms.
We are talking about Warrior's Heart. This organization is for servicemen, and I'm wondering what that aspect meant to you. Did being around other guys that have had the same experiences as you mean a lot, and did you really kind of realize it immediately, or did that take a while to understand?
I think it's paramount for most people. It's hard to... I mean, you're probably not going to find somebody who walks through those gates who hasn't experienced, some of the worst humanity has to offer. So you're not so much scared to open up because nothing's going to be really super shocking. I mean, they've all kind of, seen that side of life, on the darker side, and, dealt with, plenty of demons.
Let's talk about where you're at today. How long have you been sober, Will?
142 days.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How does it feel, man?
Honestly, it feels great. I sure don't miss it.
All right, so you've gone through the program, and what did you do after that? What was your move after that, and where are you at today?
I actually work with Operation Overwatch, which is the K9 program on site, and train with dogs.
So you're now an employee of Warrior's Heart?
Negative. It's a little separate thing, but I'm around.
Okay, all right. So you still spend a lot of time there, let's say?
Correct.
All right. So working with other guys that are going through the program, is it something that you're doing? Is that important to you?
It's very important to me. I mean, I just think back on, the days that I came in, and to see these guys come in, I think it takes more courage to walk through that gate and get help than a lot of things a lot of people will do in life, because it's very hard to come to that. To make it that far, it's a lot of work.
Is there anything that
I admire them.
Is there anything that you would say to anybody listening that might need help from a place like Warrior's Heart?
I mean, it's just get help. I mean, if you want your life, some freedom, personal freedom from addiction or any kind of demons that are controlling your life, it's worth a shot at freedom, true freedom.
Will is a Navy veteran and a graduate of Warrior's Heart. Their website, warriorsheart.com. Also, check out operationwarriorsheart.org. Will, I want to thank you for your time today and your story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that will do it. Once again, I'd like to thank my guest. Josh Lannon is the founder and CEO of Warrior's Heart. Lisa Lannon is the director of Operation Warrior's Heart Foundation. And Will is a Navy veteran and graduate of the program. If you'd like to know more about this organization, please visit warriorsheart.com. I'm Nick Carissimi. Join me again next time on Better Living.
My name is Tom Thornton.
And my name is Cindy Thornton. We've been married 38 years. We're retired, and this is how we live united.
We play golf and we travel, but we also decided we were going to give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
I do the nursing at the clinic.
I work the front office, checking in patients, greeting them, making them feel comfortable.
United Way is how we contribute, because we know our time and money are going to the right places, the places that need it most and implement it best.
Judging by the thank yous we get at the clinic, I'd say we're doing the right thing with our retirement, too.
We even get a few bless yous. It's incredible.
We're Tom and Cindy Thornton. We volunteer at our community free health clinic, so we don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up? Just like that?
Giving up on what?
On getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget, get out of debt, set some retirement goals.
Budgets? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hey, is that a faucet running?
Nope, that's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest.
It is?
Yeah, forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. The water comes straight from the forest to us. In fact...
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
How do trees clean the air?
They soak up the dirty air on their leaves, branches, and trunks, which means clean air for us.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yep. But the forest does more than give us clean air and water. It gives us shade for hot days, birds to listen to, and trees to climb.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know how cool the forest could be. Hey, let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live united. I volunteer with United Way, helping the homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save on their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.